What's life like for someone with OCD? For Simon, it means every part of his routine has to be precise down to the second. He's up at exactly 7 a.m. When he turns on the light, he flips the switch 3 times in a row, no exceptions. Even at the dinner table, every person's utensils have to be placed exactly the way he wants. And if it's supposed to be taco night but pizza gets served instead, he falls apart immediately, like a line of dominoes. Simon is incredibly gifted in science, but he works as a janitor instead of a scientist. It's because he has Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism that makes socializing challenging for him. He has a narrow range of interests and thrives on routines. To understand how others feel, he has to rely on an emoji poster on the wall, not to mention physical contact. If someone touches him, they can end up being slapped. When Simon feels overwhelmed, he hides in a metal barrel, imagining himself drifting through space. Space, for him, is peaceful, free from misunderstandings and all the complex emotions. And whenever he's in this state, here's what his mom does. Game on! Simon's dad doesn't know what else to do, so he just slips him a bit of money, hoping he'll come around. When that doesn't work, Simon's mom calls in his older brother, Sam, the one person Simon truly connects with. When Sam arrives, he doesn't force his own ideas on Simon. Instead, he joins in, going along with Simon's way of doing things. But this time, Simon absolutely refuses to come out. With no other choice, Sam has to carry Simon, bucket and all, back to his place with his girlfriend, Frida. Frida doesn't understand Simon's situation and casually lifts the lid. Simon instantly freaks out, feeling completely invaded. Sam has to calmly explain to him, like it or not, Frida is staying. If Simon wants to stay with him, he'll have to accept Frida too. It's like an equation. Take out any part and it doesn't work. Hearing equation, Simon finally gets it. And so, the 3 of them start living together. But everything has to go according to Simon's plans. Sam cooks, Simon arranges the plates, and Frida does the dishes. To Simon, this setup is perfectly balanced. But for Frida, dealing with Simon's quirks is just too exhausting. It's not long before she reaches her limit and decides to break up with Sam. Hearing this, Simon becomes anxious. Not because of the breakup, but because now there's no one to wash the dishes. Their whole routine feels off balance. With Sam too caught up in his own heartbreak, he can't keep up with Simon's demands, and everything starts falling apart. Simon asks his brother to bring Frida back to do the dishes, but Sam snaps, saying Frida's not coming back. He adds that Frida is full of bad habits, grinding her teeth, snoring, drooling, and he doesn't want to live with her anyway. But for Simon, keeping things in balance is essential. So he goes straight to Frida's place and asks if she'll come back to wash the dishes. Frida, of course, says no. Simon then suggests that if she could get rid of those annoying habits, she could still come back and do the dishes. Curious, Frida asks what habits he's talking about, and he bluntly lists what his brother mentioned before: grinding her teeth, snoring, and drooling. With Frida definitely out of the picture, Simon decides the only way to restore balance is to find Sam a new girlfriend to do the dishes. He even creates a method for it, listing all of Sam's interests and turning them into a set of 13 yes or no questions. Then he hits the streets, randomly asking every woman he meets these questions. In the end, Simon creates a whole handbook of everyone he interviewed, ranking them by how closely their interests match Sam's. He recommends the girl whose interests align best with his brother's. But Sam, still in the shadow of his breakup, knows it's pointless to try explaining that love isn't something you can plan. So he just brushes him off, saying that dating someone exactly like himself would be boring. It's like magnets, he adds, same poles repel, opposites attract. This sparks an idea in Simon. He thinks of Jennifer, the woman he comes across every day on his way to work, whose answers to each question are the exact opposite of Sam's. So the next morning, he times his commute to accidentally bump into her and without hesitation, asks if she's willing to be his brother's girlfriend. Though Simon has run into Jennifer countless times, they've never even exchanged names. To get to know each other better, Jennifer agrees to tag along to Simon's workplace. But as Simon dives into his trash-collecting duties, Jennifer finds herself bored, wondering when they'll finally break for lunch. Jennifer takes Simon's watch and sets it forward by over 20 minutes, successfully getting the lunch she wants. As they eat, Simon starts sharing all sorts of dry physics facts, and Jennifer quickly grows tired of it. So, she hands him her headphones and encourages him to observe the world while listening to music, to notice the little surprises that show up in life. In her enthusiasm, Jennifer accidentally touches Simon's shoulder. Jennifer doesn't learn her lesson. She gets knocked over by Simon several times that day. When Simon acted strangely because of his Asperger's, she remained patient. Even after Simon pushed her into a pond, she still didn't leave. Instead, she went back to her house with him to change clothes. Knowing Simon likes red and blue, she even wore red and blue clothes just for him. To help Simon feel comfortable, she invited 2 friends over to hang out with him too. Things are going well until Jennifer steps out to take a phone call and suddenly bursts into tears. Turns out she's been going through a hard breakup lately. The timing couldn't be more perfect for Simon. He suggests that Jennifer give his brother a chance, not realizing that Sam has been frantically searching for him all day because he hasn't returned home. He even goes to his ex-girlfriend's house to find him. When Simon finally returns home, he doesn't notice Sam's distress at all. Instead, he announces that he's found Sam a girlfriend and insists Sam go on a date with Jennifer. Sam, frustrated and heartbroken, has a meltdown and storms out of the house. With Sam gone, Simon shuts himself in his metal barrel and stays there the entire night. The next morning, Simon rationalizes the situation. Sam and Jennifer are like opposite poles, so one wants to date and the other doesn't. But if he can get them close enough, they'll naturally connect. Determined, he sells his beloved drum set to fund the plan and rents all of Hugh Grant's romantic comedies at the video store. After carefully studying them, he gathers his team. The bus driver he sees every day is hired to set up a candlelit dinner, and 3 quirky co-workers are enlisted to brainstorm for the date. Once everything is ready, Simon tells Sam to be at the date location on time. But Sam, still upset, hangs up on him. Unfazed, Simon has his co-workers kidnap Sam and drop him right along Jennifer's usual route. Jennifer instantly guesses that it must be Sam. As soon as she's untied, Sam explodes in anger. Since the girl came all the way here out of courtesy, Sam reluctantly sits on the side. The atmosphere is clearly awkward, but for Simon, there's no such thing as awkwardness. He motions for his co-workers to get started. First, the violinist appears, playing a romantic tune to set the mood. Then, a bouquet of roses, delivered in Sam's name, is handed to Jennifer. Next, they're guided to a small hill where a romantic candlelit dinner awaits. However, Sam can't stop frowning. Seeing Jennifer so happy, he starts to think she really wants to date him.
But
Jennifer said that Simon goes through all this trouble because he cares about Sam. His clumsy way of setting everything up, all the effort he puts in, it's his way of showing he cares. Hearing this, Sam goes quiet. His anger melts away, and a smile slowly returns to his face. He starts to relax and enjoy the conversation with Jennifer. Watching this, Simon finally feels at ease. For the first time, he thinks he understands what love is. But then, Sam walks over and tells him Jennifer has already left. They've become friends, but they're not going to be a couple. Simon panics when he hears this. Simon locks himself in the metal barrel again, refusing to come out no matter what. His brother calmly asks him why he's so determined to get them together. Simon responds, "If she doesn't like you, she'll hate me. I'm 937 times worse than you." The whole world understands what he means, except Simon himself. He has, without realizing it, fallen for the lively, kind-hearted girl who's willing to communicate with him. At that moment, a familiar voice comes from outside the barrel. It's Jennifer. She hasn't left after all. She understands how hard it is for Simon to express his feelings, so she's been quietly observing him, watching his reaction when he thinks she's gone. She lifts the lid, touches Simon's hand, and this time, Simon doesn't pull away. And with that, the movie ends. It's hard to say how accurate Simple Simon is in portraying Asperger's syndrome, but it's an adorable, heartwarming comedy. Watching it when you're feeling down will definitely comfort you. Feel free to share your thoughts about the movie in the comments. See you in the next movie.